Hi everybody, it's me again. I said I would make a part 2 video. The part 2 video that I wanted to discuss really quickly was the idea of individualized education plans and the importance of those as an educator. If you're going to be a regular classroom teacher, you'll be involved in IEPs. It's important that you know those students. It's important that you read through those IEPs and you know those accommodations that are needed for the classroom. Also, you'll be asked to attend a lot of IEP meetings. A lot of times you'll cover 2 or 3 at a time. Maybe you have a council that meets each morning that discusses needs for students. Again, every school is different, just like every child is different. What I do know that is frustrating in the process is when you do have a child that needs individualized education plan, whether it's for a child with disabilities or perhaps a child that is gifted. And what is really, really hard is when those children need those services, but they don't qualify. And you're still making all kinds of adaptations and accommodations in your room for them, which you would do anyway. I think any teacher would do that regardless of a piece of paper that says they need an individualized education plan. But there's lots of services, as some of you know, you've said in your discussion board, you work with children with special needs or with disabilities. Or some of you work with gifted and talented. And as you know, there's a level of frustration that goes on with regard to those students because they need special services that are covered under IDEA and they can't get them. I have a niece that is gifted and she reads in kindergarten. She was reading at a 5th and 6th grade level. She did take a Spark test to be placed in talented and gifted, and she missed it by 1 point. And so then it was really hard for the regular classroom teacher to validate or come up with a plan regarding her need for individualized education and some higher level skills within some certain content areas. Not that most teachers won't do that, but again, when that happens, it causes severe frustration on the teacher, on the child, on the parents, and so that is something you commonly have to deal with as a teacher. Again, it doesn't matter whether students have an IEP or not. I know that most of you are into helping all students and seeking high expectations and accommodating for all learners. The number one rule, regardless of a piece of paper or regardless of individual disabilities, is knowing your student and what they truly need. Another thing that I think is really important is knowing that when you do have a child with a disability or special needs in your class, or gifted for that matter, is you can't assume anything about the child. And that's when I was really, really cautious to listen to others in my school when they tried to tell me about the student, unless it was another professional, like the special education teacher or psychologist or counselor. And then I still exercised extreme caution because I think a lot of times students get labeled and then we tend to treat them like that label. And you know, they talk about first-person language in the book a lot. And I think it is really important when you're talking with professionals that the child's name and their being comes first, and their disability or gift or whatever it happens to be comes second. But what I don't agree with is using that as a label all the time, because people are people and have names no matter what their special gifts are. So I just commonly don't talk about labeling, and I'm not a big fan of labeling. So I just say their name. I don't say that student with, or unless it's to identify that individual to another professional. I just address individuals as individuals because that's truly what they are. And I think when we start worrying about labels, that's when we truly start labeling people and making them feel as if they're nothing but that label. So I tend to not be a labeler, and I am into first-person language, and I understand the use and need for that. But at the end of the day, I will probably just call that student by their name, and I don't really care about their that special label that they've been given. Maybe not a fan per se. So